I always love knowing about people's first jobs and
Yeah.
how things started for them because of, obviously where you are today. But what do you think it was in those early years where you just said you were very disciplined? Like, it sounds like you were aware of certain habits that you built then.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you feel confident about, or how did you look for validation in those early years, and where did it come from for you?
I mean, it's interesting. So Kylie, my little sister, she was always the social butterfly. I just liked being to myself. I don't know if that's the Scorpio in me, so it just came naturally or whatever. I had a group of friends who I loved, but I like can vividly remember just on the weekends not running to go be with my friends all the time. During the summer, I was with them, but on the weekends, in between school, I was really just by myself. I would love to like hang out in my room. I like was kind of a nerd. I loved video games and like sitting on the computer and playing Sims all day. Like I just kind of liked being to myself. And then all day long during the summer was with my horses. And yeah, I don't know. It just brought me joy. I don't think I have like a super long explanation for that. It was so simple for me as a kid. Like it was just as simple as that made me happy. And that's just what I wanted. And it explains, I guess, a lot of me now. I went through like a phase where I felt like I had to be around people. I think I live a very social life and my job is very social. So I was, kind of conditioned to want to be around people a lot. And then as, the pandemic came around, you're not around as many people anymore. And now I'm just re-enjoying being by myself, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I had the best day on Sunday all by myself. I got up, I went and rode my horses. I took my niece to ride her pony. Just me and her. It was so nice. Brought her back home, went to my house, got in my cold plunge, went in my pool, laid out, journaled. Like I was having the best day and I was just pretty much all by myself. So I enjoy it so much.
I love that. I'm sure that's so refreshing for people to hear too, because I feel like people may from the outside perceive a life, which obviously, like you said, for work, it's busy and it's social. And of course you have wonderful friends, but to know that you can feel comfortable in your own company, and that's been a habit that you've developed over time.
I crave simple things. Like I love my life and I love my job. And I feel so fortunate that I have been placed here, that for some reason I was given this life. Like I feel immensely grateful for that. And I have had so much fun. And I like think back on just the experiences that I've had this far. And it's shocking to me. I'm like, this is so freaking cool that I live this life. But at the end of the day, like when I am home and when I'm alone, like I crave the simple things. I love a simple day. I love just like a simple routine and being to myself and being around the people that I love, my small core crew. So
yeah, that's beautiful. Vibe. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're all striving for, is that passion in our careers and our work, and then the simplicity at home. What would you say? I was thinking about this, and I've watched so many of your interviews and read so much too, but what would you say for you has been one of your like proudest moments or greatest achievements, or something that you really feel like, and internally, I mean, like for the basis of our conversation, like something that really brings you joy internally when you think about it or when you had it?
Like I said, I look back and the things that I've accomplished, just even my job, like I think I really at one point when I was younger, decided I want to be a model and this is what I want to do. And the fact that I executed, because we talk about that determination, like I was 14 years old when I kind of made that decision and was like, this is what I want to do. And I went to my mom and I was like, please help me do this. And I didn't stop until I was 24, that I was like, okay, I think I need to like take it back a notch, which we could also get into because that's a very kind of dramatic story. But like, I just knew, and I think I'm proud of myself for being that kid and being determined to do that, and then executing and doing it to the level that I had done it, and that I guess I still do. But I also am proud of, I think more so, the self-work that I've done within that process. Because there was a long period of time, I'd say the core 5 years of it, that I was extremely overworked, not my happiest, not because I wasn't doing what I loved, but just because I was overwhelmed. And I felt like I was saying yes to everything because I felt really, really grateful and really honored to be in the position that I was in. So I was always saying yes. And it just took a lot out of me to the point where I just wasn't happy anymore. And so I had to set those boundaries for myself when I was about 23, 24. I'd say like, a year before the pandemic. So yeah, I was probably 23. I really set boundaries for myself, and I was like, I want to continue to do this because this is what I love. But I need to start saying no when I can, and prioritizing me, and prioritizing like, you know, my happiness and my well-being.
Yeah.
And it has done wonders for me. Like, I feel like I can show up better for myself, and I can show up a better person for the people that get to be around me that day, and, you know, that I work with on that day. So yeah. So that's what I'm proud of.
Yeah,
sorry to give you a long answer to your question.
That's an amazing. I won't say I was hoping for that, because I'm always open to wherever anyone's life experience goes. But there's a part of me that loves hearing that. Like, I really appreciate hearing that, because when you've achieved so many incredible things in your career, which you have, to then say, well, this is the part, like knowing how to navigate it, or making the right choices at the right time.
Balance.
The healthy balance.
It's so important. It's important for all of us. Yeah. Like, we have to, this is what we're prioritizing, you know?
Yeah.
So
how did you find the courage to do that at the 23 mark? As you're saying, you're in a competitive industry. As you said, it was overworking. It's fast paced. I'm guessing there's comparison in that industry. There's competition in that industry.
Of course.
It's not an easy space to be. You're in the top 0.01% in your industry.
Right.
So it's hard. And the reason I ask this is because I work with so many people in this space, and to have the courage to say, no, I know that if I sort this out, then all of this is going to be just fine. That actually takes more courage than we recognize. We realize that when you have nothing, then there's nothing to lose. You can actually have a lot of courage.
Right.
But when you have everything and there's everything to lose, and a lot of the time, at least what I've heard in town is, you know, older managers and agents, and I'm not saying you have any of this, but people that I know will be told, well, hey, if you don't do this, like, you'll be forgotten next year, or, you know, your career's only going to last another 6 months. How did you have that courage to say, no, I need to do this? Like, where did that come from? And
I think that it's like, I've never thought about it that way, to be completely honest with you. I just knew that if I had gone any further, that I was going to lose myself. I was at I was on the teeter-totter edge of that point where, had I gone any further, I was probably not going to be great. It was so important to me to feel good that I just knew that it was something that I had to do. And I can't say, like, you're absolutely right. Like, there were so many people around me that had told me not to say no, and told me not to say no, told me not to stop. I fought my way out of it a little bit, because there were people that had worked for me that, you know, didn't want me to stop because it might have benefited them.
Of course.
But I got to that point, and I just knew I had to do it. And I don't know how to explain it, I guess.
Yeah.
It was just such an unbelievable sensation that I had, where I knew that if I do this, I'm going to be better for everyone, and I'm going to be better for myself, which means I'm going to be better for the people around me, and I have to do this. And so it wasn't really, I want to be able to live with happiness. God forbid any of this ever went away. And I think that was a big moment for me, of being like, I'm going to be okay if I don't get this job tomorrow. And I'm going to be okay if I don't get that job in a month. If I have to take this time to do whatever, things will come. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I had to trust that. So.
Yeah. Well, to me, from the outside, and it's beautiful that you didn't see it in yourself, because that almost makes it even more wonderful. But the idea that, to me, from the outside, that's a lot of courage.
Yeah, thank you.
It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of vulnerability and openness, and it takes courage at every level, whether someone's thinking about quitting their job to do something they love, or whether someone's trying to relocate their family and doesn't know how, or whether someone like you is feeling success but then going, well, wait a minute. And I think in the past few years, we've seen athletes and musicians and actors and people in all creative industries step back and say, well, I need to put me first.
Yeah.
And I think that's empowering, because I think we hear about burnout in work culture and corporate culture so often.
For sure.
So what was it that you started to do with that newfound time at that time? Like, was the curiosity always there, and now you could actually follow it?
It was. Yeah. It was always there. And I had a lot of people coming to me telling me about meditation and how it changed their life, and therapy, and so many different things. And I was a bit overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, what if this is going to suit me? I think it's a very personal experience. Absolutely. I think everybody has a very different version of all of that stuff. And so it was a little overwhelming. So I think I really just took the time to be off for a second. It was even the little things. It was like being able to go to my friend's birthday party, which I wouldn't have been able to go to before because I was working a lot.
I love hearing that because I think it is those simple things like, you know, giving yourself that space, whatever it is that you needed to do.
Yeah.
When you needed it. And like you said, sometimes it's like, that's when all the subscribe buttons come up in front of you and it's like, try this and try this. And it's like, well, no, let me just take my time. And
it was also, now that I think about it, 23, I'm 26. I've had my horse so around that time is when I bought the horse that I have now, who is my, like, I jump her and I have 2 other horses, but they're like retired. So I don't really ride them the same way I ride her. So yeah, I guess it was around that time too that I was like, I'm going to do this because I love this. And like, I want to get back into it. And this is what I've loved my whole life. So it was around that time that I feel like all of that started happening. And I bought my horse and I like started taking more time for things that made me really happy.
Yeah.